Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, Disney is pulling its movies from Netflix to start its own streaming service, and in response, Netflix is pulling Shonda Rhimes away from ABC. We'll tell you more about that. Disney also released their second quarter earnings last week, and believe it or not, next Friday starts Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. We're going to talk about what it is we're looking forward to for the Halloween season at Walt Disney World. All that coming up next. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 951 for the week of August 15th, 2017. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney World, Disneyland, or Disney Cruise Line vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends, Mr. Rhino Clevin.
Hello.
Mr. Steve Porter.
Hello.
Ms. Kathy Whirling.
Hi, everybody.
Mr. Corey Martin.
I'm just happy to be here.
And back in the production nook, our producer, Mr. Craig Williams.
Hello, everyone.
Well, welcome to the show, everyone. Hope your week is off to a good start. Before we go into too much else in housekeeping, I want to start off with an apology. Yesterday, we published a story on the Diz that said that the menu at the California Grill for dinner was going to be changing. What was that?
I have no idea.
That was weird. That the menu at the California Grill was going to be changing to a buffet. The reason we published that story was because on Sunday, it appeared to be that on Disney's official site, the menu for the California Grill had in fact changed to a buffet for dinner. However, we should have done a better job of confirming that before we published it, because it turned out to be a glitch. It was an error on Disney's site, and we published it without making sure we had checked our sources. And while we're not journalists, we really do try and adhere to as many journalistic standards, I guess, as we can. And in this case, we failed. So I want to apologize to anyone who got as upset about that story as I did when I saw it. No, the California Grill is not changing to a buffet as far as we know. And that was an error on our part, and we apologize. So I just wanted to make sure we got that out there. Also, obviously, Kevin and John are not here. John and Kevin are sick. And John sounds like crap, actually. I talked to him the other day. He was up in New Jersey visiting his dad, and he sounded awful.
Even through text, he sounded like crap. Yeah, I don't know if it's possible, but he did.
So send good wishes for a speedy recovery for John and Kevin. And also want to remind everyone, because every time I mention it on the show, we get all these downloads. Our app, the Diz Unplugged app, available on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just do a search for Diz Unplugged. All the shows, show notes, our videos, the boards, our social media feeds, everything there on the app. So you just find that and download it. And yeah, go do that now. Or not now. Watch the show. After the show, go and download the app. Speaking of shows, I want to remind everybody about the lineup of shows we have this week. Every Monday, DizUnplugged.com, the Dreams Unlimited Travel Podcast with John Magi, Kevin Close, and Tracy Heinrichs. This week, they do a question and answer on Disney's Aulani out in Hawaii. And I just want to say something. One of the comments that came in on that video was that you people, something to the effect of, you people will never have an authentic Hawaiian experience as long as you stay at Disney resorts. Even the Hawaiians say this is the most authentic place they've ever seen. So do your research before you make a comment like that. Like we should do before we publish stories about menus that haven't really changed.
Just have to buy a fish hook. That's how you're authentic.
Well, no, I mean, you hear it, you know, that was a big consideration. They did not want to Disneyfy that experience. So Joe Rohde put an enormous amount of effort, and the Imagineers put an enormous amount of effort into making sure that resort was authentic to Hawaiian culture. And they have been nothing but praised by Hawaiians for the job they did on it. So Aulani is amazing. I've been out there a number of times, and it's a singular experience. Arguably the best Disney hotel in the world. From a service standpoint, amenities, the whole thing. They don't have a theme park to fall back on. So if you want to learn more about Aulani, check out this week's Dreams Unlimited Travel podcast, disunplug.com or youtube.com/dreamsunlimitedtravel. Also, every Monday, the Disneyland edition of the Diz Unplugged with host Tom Bell and his team. And this week, Michael talks with a representative from the Walt Disney Family Museum about the career of Ivan Earl, who is best known for his work, his artistic work on Sleeping Beauty. So you can check that out. Every Wednesday, disunplugged.com, the best and worst of Walt Disney World with Steve Porter and myself. And this week, we do the other side of the worst cast member experience with the best cast member experiences that we received. And we've just been getting, so even like now, like a couple weeks after that show, we are still getting emails from people.
The response is huge. Like it's flooding my email, which is great. I love that.
I love that. Yeah, I absolutely love that. So yeah, best and worst experiences with cast members. We'll do another round of these shows. We got plenty to work with. So you can send those in, podcast@disunplug.com, with any suggestions, comments, or anything like that you want to get to us. But I'm also happy to announce a new show that will go up tomorrow on disunplugged.com. This is the Disney Dining Show. We've decided to devote a show specifically to dining. And it's a new format, and we're actually going to be doing them every other week. We have another show we're going to be announcing soon that will also be every other week. I'm not ready to announce it yet. But so the Disney Dining Show starts tomorrow as well. disunplugged.com. Be sure to go check that out. And as we do with all our new shows, if you're subscribed on iTunes to this show, you'll be getting that show automatically with it for a little while we let it build an audience, and then we spin it off. We send it out to college, and it stands on its own. Every Thursday, the Universal edition of the Diz Unplugged with Craig Williams and Rhino Clavin. What have you got coming up this Thursday, Craig?
We are going to talk about some of the new Halloween Horror Nights news from this week.
Does anybody else think this is insane that it is August 15th and we have to talk about Halloween?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Well, in fairness, the Universal Halloween isn't starting until mid-September, so it's like in the appropriate range. But I, for one, since I was a child, have been stressed out if I don't know what I'm being for Halloween by the second week of August, because I am who I am.
Yeah.
And my family has had to deal with that for years. So
And
you have to get a 3D printer.
The rest of you have to too.
Before we go any further, I know I speak for many in the audience who say we're very, very happy to have you back after your
thank you.
2-week vacation.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
Tell everybody where you were.
I was in Ireland. I was in Dublin. Well, I was all over Ireland, actually. I saw a lot of cool stuff. Kissed the Blarney Stone, and I do not have mono yet, or the herpes simplex that I'm aware of, so we'll give it one more month and find out. And then we went over to London, and I saw a lot of places in London, and I did have a terrible experience with Airbnb that Pete rescued me from the streets of London.
I just seem to have to keep rescuing him off the streets.
Small orphan I am.
That's how I found him. You know?
Yeah.
He was working a bad corner on OBT.
It just felt like home there in London, then back at the corner. But no, so it was a lot of fun, and then I got to spend a couple days with my best friend in Massachusetts with my family and stuff too at the very tail end of that. So I got like a little bit of everywhere, and it was nice. It was a lot of all day stuff, but really, really cool. And honestly, if you have never been, this was my first international trip. If you have never been to any of these places, after my trip to Ireland, I am like seriously considering looking into doing the Ireland ABD that Disney does. So that might be something I would recommend to people. Like, this is a really cool place. That might be fun thing to
well,
check
we've
out,
heard, every person I've spoken to that's ever done the Ireland ABD, I believe John and Kevin did it as well, absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. They said it was incredible. So
beautiful. It was a really, really cool place. All those places were. I loved London too. Very, very different feel in Ireland, but still like really awesome. So yeah, thanks to everybody I saw along the way too for saying hey and all that stuff. And
Yeah, you ran into some listeners.
yeah, it was cool. Some we knew already ahead of time, and just some random shouts out, which
That's
was
just kinda crazy.
flattering. It just like it really does mean the world when people stop us and say hello, because right now I'm just staring at this camera and there's no person over there. I mean, I can see comments on the YouTube, but for me, when there's a body that comes over and says, hey, you made our day, or you did this, or we, whatever, you're never bothering me, you're never bothering any of us, so keep doing that. Keep saying
Craig,
hello.
you might be bothering Craig.
Yeah, the hermit.
Actually, this morning while I was pumping gas before I was coming over to here, I met a lovely lady, and I believe her name was Wendy. I was like in a rush because I'm like, oh gosh, I'm already 5 minutes late for work. But no, so yeah, everywhere. We are not safe anywhere from everyone.
Well, I told you, I got stopped in my local Publix. Guy that works in the produce department watches the show. I was just like, okay, that's too funny.
One of the weird ones I had was the guy right next to me at the movie theater that happened. It was the reserved seats, and he just happened to sit. He got the seat right next to me at the movie. He was like, hey, you're Steve from the Diz. I was like,
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's weird.
That's funny. So, well, welcome back.
Yeah,
Welcome
thank
back. And, of course, every Friday, the giant head of Rhino Flavin, Diz Pop.
Yes.
And what are you doing this week?
Oh, well, we're continuing our Nickelodeon in the 90s series that we started while I was gone. And this week we're going to be talking about our favorite live-action shows of the 90s, which includes, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Clarissa Explains It All, Hey Dude, every show in there and all that fun stuff. And after that, we have one more week of that, and then we'll move on to something new, I promise. But
Oh,
the
thank
feedback's
God.
been nice. The feedback's been nice, so I was worried how that was going to be received, but people seem to be pretty positive. I'm just on a nostalgia kick right now. It just makes me feel young.
Oh, shut up. Before I hit you with something. Jeez. You children. Oh, I feel so old. Oh, shut up. All right, so that's everything I have. Anything else in housekeeping?
Just wanted to mention there's a
Kathy, could the types, the font on that piece of paper be any bigger?
At least it's not all highlighted.
Holy crap.
It's just easier than putting on my glasses. But anyway, the Delaware Magical Wishes is having their Give Kids the World event, and they need to have everybody buy their tickets by September 4th, because if you don't, the event's in danger of being canceled. So look up Delaware Magical Wishes on Facebook, and James or Denise will set you up with some tickets.
All right. Anything else in housekeeping? No? All right, then we're going to throw it over to Rhino, who's not ready.
No, I forgot for a second, but yeah,
With the news.
The news. Here we go. Okay. Disney's second quarter earnings report has earnings above expectations and revenue below. So Disney reported impressive earnings for 2017's second quarter, but their revenue left something a little bit to be desired. Wall Street expectations were lower than Disney's reported earnings, with their adjusted earnings per share at $1.58 per share instead of the expected $1.55 per share. When it came to revenue, however, the company did not reach the $14.42 billion expectation. Instead,
Aww.
I know, so sad. But instead, don't worry, they managed $14.24 billion. So they were off by
But that's a big deal to Wall Street.
Yeah.
When you miss your expectations like that, that's a big deal.
Well, I'm not going to laugh at $0.2 billion either, because that's quite a bit of money. So, but Disney's stock dropped 3 points directly after these announcements were made, and has since climbed back up to a 2-point loss. Disney's Parks and Resort had an operating income of $1.17 billion, well over the $1.09 billion expected. Disney attributes the success in their parks division to overseas profits, saying their domestic take-home is similar to this time last year.
It's a nice way of saying that the domestic parks were flat, while the growth is coming from Paris and Shanghai.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying, that it's projected that it was the first quarter profits were pre-opening costs subtracting from the total were higher attendance in Disneyland Paris to increased ticket costs, all that fun stuff. But for domestic parks, increased costs to Disney were accounted by an increase in guest spending and volume of guests. Disney says their higher output was due to labor and other cost inflation, increased operations support costs, and new guest offerings in the dry dock of the Disney Fantasy in the current quarter.
Now, I just want to point out to everybody that we're talking about Disney's second quarter here, which is actually January to March. We are currently in Disney's fourth quarter. I'm very, very interested. We won't hear those numbers until later in the year. I'm very interested to see what their fourth quarter numbers look like, because of, we're all commenting how slow summer is right now. We talk about all these discounts at the restaurants and lack of crowds in places like Epcot and Magic Kingdom. That far less than what we would normally expect at this time of year. So very interested to see what that is. But part of what drove these numbers, what really dragged on their numbers, which is a kind of a good segue into our next story, was performance in ESPN, which is down 22%.
Just seems like something that's always been an issue for them and just is continually.
Well, because the business model no longer works.
Yeah.
The business model no longer works, and they've tried and tried and tried, and it doesn't work. And also in the media division, they did not post the numbers they were expecting to post, and that's what led to the lower revenue. So on this call, they announce what is our second story. Go ahead with that.
Yeah, so Disney is pulling its movies from Netflix and starting its own streaming service. So this was kind of a big deal because they just recently announced that they had partnered with Netflix to get the movies within 9 months of being in the theater. So Disney announced during the earnings report, they have intentions of pulling all the movies from Netflix and launching their own, what I just said, direct-to-consumer streaming service in 2019. According to CNBC, Disney also plans on launching their own ESPN video streaming service in early 2018. That platform will feature approximately 10,000 sports events annually, along with content from MLB, NHL, MLS, collegiate sports, and tennis's Grand Slam events.
And there you have it.
Yeah, Disney's buying a majority ownership of BAM Tech for $1.58 billion in order to power the service.
Well, okay, so this is a page right out of Disney's playbook. Do you remember what they were doing before they launched Disney Cruise Line?
Red boat?
The big red boat. The big red boat. They partnered. I forgot who the cruise line was. I think they went out of business.
Yeah.
But they partnered with a cruise company to do the big red boat, and this is where they learned everything they needed to know about how to launch their own cruise line. And then went ahead and did it. You are not going to tell me that part of the deal with Netflix didn't require them to get analytics on how their properties were performing on a streaming service. And I will guess, because it's such a quick turnaround from the announcement that they were doing it to the announcement that they're pulling out, that very quickly they saw the numbers and said, oh, hell no, we're doing this ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing here. And it's really hard. It's really important to underscore the importance of this announcement. This isn't just an announcement. This will change the media landscape moving forward. And I'm not overselling it here. All of Hollywood, all of the entertainment industry took notice of this. This was getting written up in the New York Times. This was getting written up in Variety, The Hollywood Reporter. This was a big, big, big story. That with a major media conglomerate like Disney going this direction at this level, the chance of cord cutting, the promise of cord cutting coming to fruition, which it's been starting to do. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm very close myself right now to cutting cable. But this was met with this. The entertainment industry was stunned. Nobody saw this coming. And so with ESPN failing the way it is, being able to bundle it, kind of take all their stuff, put it in one place, and make it hopefully more profitable.
I can actually see this having the opposite effect, and actually maybe potentially helping cable companies, because if big entertainment groups start to split from Netflix and split from Hulu, and they start all creating their own little services, so $10 a month here, $10 a month there, slowly for me and a lot of my friends, millennials, I think, is the thing that they liked about Netflix is like, hey, $10 a month, that's a lot cheaper than my cable bill. But now if it's, you got to spend $10 for Disney, $10 for Hulu, $10 for this, $10 for, if suddenly there's 10 different services that are all $10 a month, I think a lot of millennials are going to say, well, let's just hop back on the cable bandwagon.
Right. Your point is well taken, and that's been mentioned in a lot of the articles I've been reading, that this could go that direction. But I think what's going to happen is something in the middle. I mean, right now, what's your cable bill?
I don't have cable.
I don't have cable.
Okay, $190. for-
$190.
$250.
$250. I won't tell you what mine is because mine's unusual because I have multiple
Right.
connections coming into the house. But
And we do have Netflix, but that's
mine
it.
is bigger than both of yours combined.
Oh, geez.
But like I said, because we have to maintain the pipe for this studio,
Right.
I have to have a dedicated internet connection.
He's what
coming in
keeps
just for
Spectrum in
this.
service.
I am. But the concept, the idea that you'll be able to just pay $10 a month and get all the entertainment you want is just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's going to be somewhere in the middle. And I think if somebody could turn around to you, Kathy, at $190 a month and say, you can get everything you watch now on demand. Yes, you may have to subscribe to 4 or 5 different services to do it, but who cares? We're going to take that $190 and cut it down to $90.
Oh,
You're
in a
in.
heartbeat, I'd be going.
You're in.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
because a lot of stations are even. I mean, CBS I guess is the first one to do it because they have their all access thing, and their big thing is that they had made that The Good Wife had spinoff was on there, and now the new big deal for them is the Star Trek show that's starting in September. Is they'll air the first episode on the network, and then you have to be subscried to the service to get the rest of it. So they're kind of really trying to really edge out this.
This
thing.
is where Netflix just announced, I might have this number wrong, a $6 billion commitment to developing.
It's a lot. I think
No,
it's
it's
actually
$17
double-
billion.
Yeah,
I think
it
it's
was double
17
digit.
billion.
Yeah.
That's right. It's $6 billion this year alone. $17 billion commitment to developing new original programming. That is what they're all going to be doing. Netflix started it. Now
Yeah.
Amazon's doing it. CBS is doing it. Disney is going to do it. They're all going to do it. And that's what's going to determine who the winners are. And at some point, once these individual streaming channels get established, then you'll start seeing where who's going to fall off, who's going to rise to the top, who's going to take over whose content, all that stuff. And
I honestly think that Netflix is still the winner in it because from what I hear from major people who have worked with studios and then go to Netflix or something is that the environment that's created at Netflix is essentially like, here's your money, do whatever you want.
Well, that's what Amazon is doing too.
Yeah, and so I think they're the big main. I think that if they can get their service together a little bit more, then they're the direct. It's a new type of environment.
I think Netflix has absolutely got the leg up right now because they really are the ones who were first with it.
Yeah.
But you're talking about Amazon and Disney.
Yeah.
They have lots and lots and lots and lots of money to throw at this too.
That come from other sources
So
too. Yeah.
it's going to come down to who you get. So very interesting thing leading into our third story is...
Well, so just the tail end of that last one was that the Netflix and Disney are still in discussions about keeping the Marvel movies and the Star Wars movie on Netflix because they want to brand that separately. But all those TV shows that you love are going to stay there. But Netflix has purged a big player from ABC. So
Poached.
Poached, yeah, not purged. I'm sorry. Grey's
Never
Anatomy
know.
producer Shonda Rhimes has moved from ABC to Netflix. So if you don't know who Shonda Rhimes is, she's a creator of many very successtional television shows for.
She has their entire Thursday night lineup right now.
Yeah, Shonda, her studio.
Shondaland,
yeah,
her
it's
production company, has How to Get Away with Murder,
Oh, I'm obsessed with
Scandal,
How to Get Away with Murder. I love that show.
Grey's Anatomy are all her shows.
Yeah.
And now I don't know, I wonder, obviously these deals, this was all in the works before time. They didn't just decide yesterday that we're
Yeah.
going
Right.
to, hey, Shonda, you want to come over here and play? But I wonder how much this played into Disney's announcement. This is a huge loss for Disney. Now, they're not losing Grey's Anatomy. They're not losing the other shows. They all remain on ABC. She just won't be developing anything new. She's getting her development deal now at Netflix.
And she does, as I read this, she does say a little bit why, which I'll go in here. But Shonda Rhimes' company Shondaland is the company behind Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, many others. But so those current shows are going to continue to appear on ABC, as well as some that are in development, like the spinoff to Grey's Anatomy. And the Netflix has the back library to Grey's Anatomy and Scandal already. But sorry, I wrote something twice, so I confused myself.
That happens a lot.
Sorry. So she says, "I'm proud to have given a home to what." No, wait. That's
No,
not
that
her.
was an ABC executive.
Jeez. Okay, let me skip to her quote then. As for the decision to move Shondaland to a new home, Rhimes released a statement saying, and I quote, "Shondaland's move to Netflix is the result of a shared plan that Ted Sarandos, who's the Netflix's chief content officer, that Ted Sarandos and I built based on my vision for myself as a storyteller and the evolution of my company. Ted provides a clear, fearless space for creators at Netflix. He understood what I was looking for, the opportunity to build a vibrant new storytelling home for writers, and with the unique creative freedom and instantaneous global reach provided by Netflix's singular sense of innovation. The future of Shondaland at Netflix has limitless possibilities." So I think that's a big deal.
That has a little backhand to it.
Yeah, freedom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what Netflix is all about. And if you watch shows like How to Get Away with Murder or Scandal or something, they're a little racy for TV, and it's great. It's exciting. It's fun. And I love those shows. But I can definitely get that feeling like, if I love this show here, I can't wait to see what she's going to do. And essentially you can just, the rating system isn't the same on there. It can be rated R. It can be whatever. There is no there's no wall, I guess. I don't know.
It's going to change. I mean, these are just game changers. These are game changers. And you're right, that Netflix is providing, so is Amazon, this amazing creative freedom. And Disney's not known for that. Disney's not known for giving writers and producers lots and lots of creative freedom. There's a formula to be followed. Take a look at the Marvel films. Take a look at the Star Wars films. There is a formula, that needs to be followed. And Netflix, these other studios are just saying, come on, here's a whole lot of money, go make something.
I think Disney fans, though, will follow. They'll give it a try. Julie and I never used to watch original Netflix shows, but now it's the first thing we go to.
If you haven't watched The Crown on Netflix, you're missing an important part of life.
Yeah.
This was amazing. I didn't think I was going to like it. I was very upset that the second season isn't out yet. I have to wait till December. So there is some really great stuff being created. House of Cards, of course.
There's a ton. I mean, especially when it says recommended for you, and then we forget we're in the kids. I know we don't want to watch Barbie. Let's go to the adult section again. And then, but it's a ton of stuff. But I think Disney fans will give it a shot. They might not win. Netflix didn't win me over right away. Yeah. We had it for a couple months, and then we canceled it, and then we bought it again, and now we're just hooked.
But do not underestimate a company. This is why it made such a big splash, that they were going into their own streaming service. You cannot underestimate the sheer gross tonnage of intellectual property owned by Disney.
Yeah.
And starting their own streaming service. And believe me, Disney will adapt. If they know that what's making Netflix successful is giving creative freedom. Now, they're going to be able to give some creative freedom. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to see really, really, really racy stuff showing up on a site with a Disney brand on it.
Yeah.
They can't do it. But shy of that, they can give a lot of creative freedom in this space and use the intellectual property they have with Marvel, Star Wars, everything else to develop some things that could be absolutely game-changing.
Well, that's the thing, too, is that Disney, when they do this, they have a brand that they're committed to. And some things don't fit in that brand. When Pirates of the Caribbean came out, that was the big PG-13 for a movie that says Disney on it. It's like they can be exciting, they can be whatever, but they have to fit this kind of mold that still is Disney, but can be great storytelling, great whatever. Whereas Netflix, the difference here is that Netflix has prided itself on essentially being we can be whatever we want to be, which includes being
but Disney would do
racy,
Disney would do is the same thing they did with the studio, that under the actual Disney studio brand, it had to be a certain thing. Yeah. But then they created Touchstone, they created Miramax.
Yeah.
Or the Weinsteins created.
I think they're going to come out the gate with exclusively Song of the South.
Yeah,
that'll be the big one. Yeah,
that'll be the big one.
So the Disney Vault, yeah.
So interesting week in business.
No, it'll be interesting
all business
to see
stories
what it comes
this
up
week.
With. Yeah. That first one was a little bit of I don't get it, but it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. I'm not here to understand.
# thank God he's pretty. All right, thank you, Rhino. We're going to move ahead with Rapid Fire, and we'll go ahead and start with you, Ron.
So, One Man's Dream will be reimagined as Walt Disney Presents. The Disney Parks blog has announced that starting this September, One Man's Dream is going to be, like I said, reimagined as Walt Disney Presents, which will be fairly similar to One Man's Dream, as it'll showcase the history and life of Walt Disney. The historic photos, sketches, and iconic storyboards aren't going anywhere, but the big change will be the addition of a preview center for upcoming attractions. Guests will be able to see concept artwork, concept models for ride vehicles, and even the Toy Story Land model, which is yet to be seen by anyone outside of Walt Disney Imagineering, so that's exciting. Additionally, the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge model that was displayed at the D23 Expo last month will be on display as well.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that'll be cool to see. Bring it back here. I also feel bad, like, Disneyland didn't really get any of this stuff, but it's like, look, we have nice things too. Like, I don't know, like, let me lord this over you. Like, but there'll be some concept art for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway as well. You can still meet Star-Lord and Baby Groot there, but there is no word on where Moana's going to go, or if she'll stay there or not. And the film at the end will still stay the same, and they'll still do the sneak peeks of the movies coming up and stuff. So it doesn't really sound like too much of a major change, other than they're just adding in previewing attractions, which I feel like, not that they did that, but I'm not surprised that that's happening there. It seems like that's just a natural fit.
Yeah.
So
I think that's all right.
Yeah.
I'll be okay with it as long as they don't get rid of the film that
Yeah,
they just
I agree.
brought back for like a week, and now if it already
Yeah.
goes away, I'll be kind of sad.
Yeah.
But if you do walk through there, I mean, from what it originally was, they've basically, because of the meet and greet and now getting ready for the preview center, they've taken away about a third of that entire space just for these things. And while the models will be a nice addition in back, it's really that meet and greet area that needs to go. They've got to find a more permanent location in a different place.
Yeah, it's like kind of weird that he's in there anyways. Like, it's not a place that in the park where I'd be like, well, where's the obvious place that we go to meet Star-Lord? No. And Walt,
Right.
and One
And
Man's
a
Dream.
tribute to
You're
Walt
like,
Disney. Right?
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
All right, thank you, Rhino. Steven?
Okay, so the annual Passholder specialty gift was announced for Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival. It's a dud.
Oh.
It's sad.
Last year they had etched like tumbler glasses that
Yeah.
had food and wine. This year it's a commemorative button.
Boo.
No.
Yeah.
Those
Yep.
glasses were so nice. Eli and I have
Yep.
a matching pair. I drink
They
out
blew
of those
the
glasses
budget.
on a daily basis.
Next
Yeah.
year, you get a Mickey sticker. Around a
That's
Mickey
like
sticker.
the direction we're headed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll have Remy from Ratatouille, and there's like 3 different types of buttons. But yeah, I'm kind of pissed about this. It's like
I
a
wouldn't
5
even
second.
walk in there to get my button. That's
Yeah.
like,
It's like something they should just have in a basket at the greeter for like
Yeah.
first day
It's kind
people
of
or something.
It's like a slap in the face. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think because for the 45th, and maybe they're thinking, oh, we gave annual pass holders so much this year with the discounts and the extra month and this and that, so we're just gonna give them a button this year. But just
Are you going to go get a button?
no.
I'm not going to get a button.
no.
Well, here's the thing, though. They did specialty buttons like every weekend for the California Food and Wine Festival, and annual pass holders really enjoyed collecting them and getting them. So I don't know if that's a difference from the two coasts.
I think
California's okay with it, and we're not.
But their annual pass holders get a lot more stuff
Yeah, they
more
get a lot.
frequently because at the Halloween party they give us that bag that year or
Yeah.
last year. Like they're always getting buttons and stuff like that, which is nice. If it was like a consistent thing, this is just kind of like, well, we got you that really fancy glass last year. You can put your button in it.
yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like they set the expectations too high previous years, but I don't know. It's just a letdown.
It is.
We're gonna make our own buttons here at the Diz. Somebody's got a button
Soon.
machine.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, Lord. All right, thank you, Steve. Kathy?
Okay. In sad news, Walt Disney World has announced the ending of the express transportation service.
Any idea why?
No. We were in Epcot yesterday, and we're there like, we need to do that again. That was so much fun to be able to do that. And if you had a group of people, I don't know. I read somewhere that they said that guests had found other means of transportation.
Like the minivans?
But still, that didn't take you backstage. That didn't get you past security. I thought this was, and I almost, looking back on it, I almost want to say that it's like they set themselves up for failure. Because if they had really wanted this to work, they could have used smaller vehicles like vans or something
Yeah.
to transport you backstage instead of having these big buses. But the 16th is the last day you can purchase the tickets. And if you purchased a multi-day ticket, the last day is August 23rd.
One of the few add-ons, upcharges that they've added that actually gave value.
It did.
And a lot of people like this. But also, I still think a lot of people didn't know it was there.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that was the problem. It wasn't communicated well.
Yeah, they didn't promote it, and I also think, I mean, I know it was a limited time thing, but it went on way longer than what you would expect a limited time offer to be. They didn't find a way to make money, but I don't think they tried real hard either.
It was kind of tucked away. Like the
Yeah.
backstage areas and the signage was always tucked away. Like you go to the bathroom, like, oh, what is that?
Yeah, and I says, once people heard about it, they went, oh, hey, that's a great idea. But how often did you hear about it?
Right, exactly. Well, I'm disappointed to hear that.
They should have gave away buttons.
Yeah.
If they'd given away the buttons.
I think that would have been perfect.
All right, thank you, Kathy.
You're
Corey.
welcome.
All right, I know this is coming up soon, but I think it's pretty cool. August 24th, you can enjoy a rooftop wine dinner at Paddlefish at Disney Springs. Now,
That's a beautiful space.
It
too.
really is. They'll be hosting a 4-course tasting event that will highlight old world wines paired with new world cuisine to include grilled shrimp, tuna, crudo, and surf and turf. The event will take place Thursday, August 24th from 6:30 to 9:30 on the third deck rooftop of Paddlefish, which is a beautiful venue. In addition to the 4 courses, there is a reception, which also offers food and a pairing. Now, this is $100 per person. Tickets can be purchased by paddlefishrestaurant.com. That way you can see what every course has to offer along with the wines. But look, I think Julie and I know she mentioned last week that we went to STK. I tried to do 2 dinners that night. I thought like STK would be like appetizer dinner and we can finish off at Paddlefish, but she didn't go for it. But we did end up at Paddlefish.
Let's be honest. You wanted to do full meals at both.
I
Corey.
really did. And also I couldn't get a reservation at Paddlefish. It was last minute. But we did go up to the top deck and kind of hang out at the bars. It's a great place. But with the rain now, you're going to commit to $100 and you never know.
Yeah.
Just fingers crossed.
Well, did I read somewhere too that this event is to showcase the new executive chef that they just got at Paddlefish as well too?
They just got a new executive chef?
I think I read that somewhere that
Damn.
that a chef from
Thing just opened in March.
yeah, I may or may not be right about that. I want to say it just someone mentioned it. It was just kind of went under the radar on that.
I hadn't
So-
heard that. But that's not surprising either, so. Like I said, you just roll me out for parties. I'm the pretty face of the operation. So, all right, that sounds cool. Thank you, Corey. Craigor?
Hello. Well, I have exciting news for all. It was a very sad weekend, losing the great movie ride in Universe of Energy. So before I get into mine, I just want to say a big thank you to all the cast members at both attractions. They were really worked hard this past weekend and couple days moving up to it to try to make the attractions going away as special as possible. So we appreciate all the hard
Okay,
work.
I got to ask the question. If these attractions were so beloved, how come no one went on them?
No, okay, with Great Movie Ride, I will shoot people down all day on that. That ride always had a 20 to 30 minute wait, but for the capacity that ride holds, that's a lot of people going through. So having a 20-minute wait,
And it only
it's
started
still
getting
popular.
that only started getting a 20 to 30 minute wait when they went to Fast Pass Plus. Before that, it was a walk-on. It was always a walk-on.
Not when I went then, because usually 10, 15 minutes. You were always waiting in the theater, but it did get. I think people underestimated it. It's the same thing happened over at Universal. People always said, "Well, Dragon Challenge isn't popular because it's always a 5-minute wait." Well, no, that's because there's 2 roller coasters moving at once that both eat up a lot of people. So some of these high capacity rides, they might seem like they're not popular, but it's just because they put a lot of people on.
And from my standpoint, these were two rides that were in absolute desperate need of major change.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been fine with them leaving Great Movie Ride and just adding some new movies, adding some new elements,
Yeah, I think
doing
we've
something
been saying
new.
that for a
Yeah.
long time.
Making it more exciting.
That it was so dated, it just didn't. It was dated.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the history of it. I asked this question on Facebook. I want to ask you guys. If you could take away one prop from the Great Movie Ride that you can bring home, because the response is, I was supposed to go first. I asked the question.
Yeah, but you worked for me.
Damn it. Well, because we don't have a lot of Halloween decorations, but
The shoes.
the shoes. Yeah.
Well, that's because you want to walk around with it.
You don't know.
Sorry, I forgot where I was going with all that. But no, I loved Great Movie Ride. To kind of counterpoint the updated thing, I do think it needed updating in terms of the quality of the animatronics. But I was talking to Rhino and Steve about this. I've always, my parents showed me a lot of movies as I was growing up, but if it wasn't for the Great Movie Ride, I would have never seeked out Singing in the Rain, Casablanca, some of the smaller things, finding out who James Cagney was and watching The Public Enemy and Yankee Doodle Dandy, and I would have never really taken the time to seek it out. And I know that a lot of people just don't care to, but as a person who really loves movies, this is like. This one is a big,
But
terrible
again,
loss for me.
for a premier attraction in a Disney theme park, it has to appeal to the largest number of people possible. So going the route of old films, I mean, I get where they were going with it, and in the beginning, it was charming. I loved it. There was a time that I loved the Great Movie Ride. It was just the fact that it never changed, that it was just the same thing, and it just got old, and it needed to be reimagined. Now, I mean, what they're doing with it is more than reimagining it. They're completely gutting it and doing something entirely different. But like I said, I would have been fine if they had just, there are other old films that are classics.
Yeah, I agree.
I would have loved driving through Mildred Pierce or a Sunset Boulevard.
I do agree with that. Like I do
Make it
think
the Gay Movie Ride.
the choice of it's just a rainbow you go through the whole time. I mean, you do go over the rainbow at one point, but I do think that it was a 50-50 choice of the movies. I always thought it was a weird choice. I do agree that I wish it was still staying something that celebrated the history of movies and movie making.
Yeah.
But I do think it needed an update. But the other one, it clearly needed. It was beyond its time.
Energy.
Well, it was propaganda. It was a propaganda attraction for Exxon. That's what it was. Propaganda, and it was bad propaganda. 45 minutes, 43 or whatever it was.
Going on both this past weekend, getting off Great Movie Ride, I was sad, and this is going to be, getting off Universe of Energy, I was like, good riddance. Like, not too sad
It's
about
time.
this.
It was time for.
It was time, but I love something about Universe of Energy. I don't know what it is, if it's the technology.
It's hysterical, the things he gets misty over.
I've been defending this ride since I came on the Diz. I think it is just... It's one of those things that there's something special about it.
I'm not saying you've had a change of heart. I just think it's hysterical, the stuff you get all magical about.
I know. I'm very weird. Hey, Kathy's got Figment, I've got dinosaurs and movies, and it's all good. But yeah, speaking of irrelevant attractions, Mission Space is now reopened with the new brand. The brand new Green Earth mission, which I was there on the day that it soft opened. I believe that was Friday, the 11th. And so I did that, and then I also was able to do the updated Orange, which same exact idea, just they made it more HD. It's a lot clearer, just an overall better experience. If you really want to say it that way. Mission Space is still just kind of
That to me is like a one and done. I went and did the new green one, and it's like, okay, there it is.
Does it move? I mean, is there any motion at all?
Yeah, it still moves. It's not as intense as it was. I went because I heard that when you come in for a landing, you're landing at Kennedy Space Center. They don't really tell you that, but it's like, okay, now I've done it. I can come back in 5 years and ride it again.
It was pretty. A lot of people
Yeah.
have described it, and I agree with it, that it's like soaring, but up in space, flying over the Earth. And so there's gentle motions, a little bit of rocking back and forth. So we have our video of it if you want to watch it.
I did.
Before you experience it. Yeah, and so it's, I think it's actually enjoyable like that, but unlike soaring where you're enveloped in this giant IMAX screen and you feel like you're in something bigger. This still feels like you're in a box that you're being shaken around. And so, it's, you feel like a kitten in a box.
Speaking of giant IMAX screens, I finally got a chance to do Flights of Wonder.
Okay. What'd you
Flights of
think?
Passage. Flights of, why do I keep saying
Bird
that?
show.
Mission Passage.
At Pandora. Oh my God.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Did it twice on Saturday. And I got to tell you, I don't think there's a better attraction out there from my
I
standpoint.
think I'm the only one who doesn't like it.
How could you not like it?
I don't know if it's just like weird.
Because that giant head.
Is it the motion? Is it more the motion? Or
I could also see everybody out of the corner of my eye where I was seated. So like I was like, okay, well we're all riding this stupid thing. Like I can all see that. I felt like the queue is amazingly themed. Like going up to it's really good, and then the actual attraction for me was like I don't hate it. I'm not going to condemn it. I'm not going to say it's like bad.
No, I
or
thot it
anything
was
like that, but
absolutely amazing.
I just
love it. Hashtag amazing
It also
experience.
looks fake. My brain can't. I think it's the motion as part of it, and my brain can't separate.
because I
the two,
was
so
with you on
get-
California Screaming, and
Oh God, Corey, don't
just
even get me started.
just
on
the
that.
look of its face. Ugh.
No, I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was wonderful.
But just wrapping that up, I think definitely if you've never done Mission Space before, give the green side, the green team a chance now. It's definitely something to do. I think I actually prefer the green side now to the orange. Before, when I had the choice of doing Mars with motion or no motion, I always chose the more intense. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. But now I think the green's just an overall better experience the entire way through. So I think it's good, but it's still not the answer for Mission Space.
I did find it a little strange that they gave you like a warning card as you were coming into the attraction.
Yeah, the ticket
And,
or whatever.
and
I
it's
don't-
like, hey, this can cause this and this can do that. And
I don't think legal's ever going to let them go back to not handing that out after
I know,
all
but
the
it's
issues.
sort of like, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I get they're trying to cover their butts, but it just doesn't seem very magical or like in keeping. Like if you were really going to be an astronaut, they wouldn't be handing you things going, do you really, really want to do this? Really, you can leave right here. There's no shame. Go ahead, leave. I don't know. They need to change that.
No. All
but
right.
that's it.
Thank you, Craig. Before we wrap up the show, as I mentioned earlier, as hard as it is to believe, we are staring down the barrel at the next round of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Parties, which is the first one coming up August 25th, which is next Friday. And they are running these I can't count the number of times they're running this.
Select days, August 25th through November 1st.
Yeah,
Yep.
basically.
There you go.
Basically. Prices are ranging from advanced purchase, $74, up to $115 if you go on Halloween. And slightly better for annual pass holders and DBC members, between $69 and $89. But those are for dates that they're expecting the park not to be as busy. But nonetheless, it heralds the arrival of my favorite season at Walt Disney World, the fall. Not just because it brings food and wine festival with it, but this party in particular is, I think I enjoy it more than any other party that Disney does. I think I enjoy it more than the Christmas party. I think I enjoy it more than not more than my 20th anniversary party, I'll say that. But I think I enjoy it more and look forward to it more than I do Food and Wine or Flower and Garden or whatever else they
It's
do.
just a fun time of year because we have several things that we can look forward to.
Well, it's always been my favorite time of year. I just have a personal, from childhood, I just have a personal affinity for the early part of fall. That's September, October, time frame.
When the weather starts getting really nice here.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, we'll get into something else. But I want to talk about what it is you're looking forward to. Like, what are your thoughts going into doing the party? Like, is there something like you're hoping is better or different, or?
The last couple of years, I still love the addition of the Hocus Pocus characters. So for me, that's my like number one highlight. Go in. If
That's huge.
If the show's not different again this year, that's okay. But I do think it would be nice if like it was still hosted by the Sanderson sisters, but they changed it up just a little bit, like maybe different characters or just the plots maybe slightly different. But I love that show so much that I'm still okay. Like maybe next year I'd be like, this is getting a little too like stop repeating it, because this is the third year in a row that it's been the Sanderson sisters. So, but that for me, I love those girls that have been playing them every time we've gone. I'm pretty sure it's been the same, but they're just fantastic. And that's the thing. I mean, I love that. There's too much to love. I can't go on. I'll pick that one thing and let somebody else talk.
I enjoy watching what everybody dresses up as. Like for us, going as a family, I have a love-hate with it. Like Rhino said, it's like you start thinking about what are you going to dress up as a family that makes sense, and it's not just so sporadic. But I enjoy seeing like all the other costumes that people come up with, and like sometimes you don't even realize if they're cast members or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the event in whole, but I really like just to be able to jump on Space Mountain for like a 5-minute wait.
Well, that's a big one.
Yeah,
That,
you can't do that any other time. So, you get to experience everything that you get to experience, like the parade and the fireworks and everything else. But then being able to hop on lines,
once you get off Main Street.
Yeah, that in itself is, worth it for me.
There was a big thread on the Diz that a client brought to my attention about this year they're not letting guests make fast pass reservations with their party ticket, and a lot of people had their fast passes canceled, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've been going to that for how many years, and did I really need a fast pass? And I'm thinking, no, I don't think I did, but I guess now with fast passes everybody's conditioned that even for a party, and it's like, just go. I can't remember, we've gone to Halloween parties where it's been nice, where there's not a lot of people, and then I know we've been to ones where it's been sold out, and we still got on the rides. So I guess, just go, enjoy yourself. To me, I said that's like the start of fall. I mean, it's still probably just as, I know we've also gone when it's really hot out that we were sweating.
Dying.
But for some reason it felt like fall had arrived. But I think it's a great way to spend a night in the parks and do things with your family or your friends.
No, I agree. It runs from 7 p.m. to midnight, so it's a 5-hour party.
I don't usually I'm not big into parades. Every now and then there's one that speaks to me, like the Sound Station one at Disney World, or Paint the Night too. And this, for me, is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, parades in like all the Disney parks.
Oh, it's great.
I love that you see those characters that you don't normally see, but I wish they would almost elongate the scene with the grave diggers and the zombie dancers and stuff, because that part to me is just like, it's so like that. It's like what you said, Kathy. Like it's the sign of the season changing and the fall.
But don't you think? Because that's my one complaint is Disney, for being a big entertainment company, they could add scenes or change it up a little bit for probably hardly any money. And keep the things that everybody loves about it.
Yeah.
But change it up for those who have gone for how many years?
That's what I'm very concerned with this year with Happy Hallowishes, because now that they're running Happily Ever After every night, I mean that I love Happy Hallowishes. I think it's a great fireworks show. Probably my favorite one when your choice was Wishes, Holiday Wishes, or that one. But I don't know. Now, Happily Ever After, the projections on the castle, as well as the fireworks, the pyro that they use for it themselves, are just so impressive. If they don't make tweaks and adjustments to this show, I'm kind of concerned that it might be a letdown, and people might say, well, the regular fireworks are better.
I don't think so. Look, I finally got a chance to go see Happily Ever After. I know, I'm late to the party. And I loved it. It was not better than Wishes. It was not better than Wishes, but it was fantastic. And I'm not bothered by the fact there wasn't a storyline. I loved that films, animated films that don't normally get time in Disney fireworks shows got some time. I saw Hunchback and Hercules and some stuff like that. It was really cool. But I think it could actually be great contrast for those of us who really do miss just that ridiculous, here are all of our fireworks ever in the history of man shot off at once, like Wishes was, like Hollow Wishes is. Actually, I think because it harkens back to Wishes, that it might be more appealing.
I'm not. That's just such a little minor thing. At the end of the day, it is still big, but audience reaction for Happily Ever After and Once Upon a Time has just been so positive that it'll be interesting to see what they say when one night they see one show and then the next night see the other, because Hello Wishes was such a big step up from seeing regular Wishes. So. But yeah, the other thing that I don't know if it's sold out for me, but what I wanted to do this holiday season for Halloween, really get over to Fort Wilderness and do that Sleepy Hollow event with the screening of the movie and seeing it. I completely forgot about it until we started talking about this. I need to see if there's still tickets.
That's like my favorite thing in all of Disney World ever is Halloween at Fort Wilderness, and now like adding this event just sounds like really, really cool.
So, and I would also, even though it's not on our coast, the fact that they're expanding Halloween to California Adventure.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I end up in someone's duffel bag ever going out there around Halloween time, I won't be upset.
Let's all get a cabin loop and we can trick or treat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
I was serious.
Why are you cut to me? I didn't say it. Why are you on me?
I was waiting for the reaction.
It sounds like a good
See,
idea.
for me, for the Halloween party, it's the short waits for the attractions, the candy, the parade, the fireworks. I think this is the best night you can spend at the Magic Kingdom all year. And I love that party. And unfortunately, I will not be here to join you guys next Friday. I'm going to be heading out to California myself, out to Disneyland for a few days. So I'll have to do it when I come back. But I'm very excited, very, very, very excited that that it's coming back. I just 32 nights. 32 nights of the party this year. And do you think that people will? Are we going to fill 32 nights?
I mean,
They don't usually. And this year being slower, I wonder.
I think the earlier ones might. I don't know that the word is out to like the common person who comes to Disney. Like I always try to think about how our planning in our lives.
No, but the last few years we found the first night has been very busy.
Yeah,
it used to be that it was quiet.
Yeah.
The last time I remember, though, the first night being slow was when it was like the third weekend of August. And I remember it was like we were all there, our big group. It was in the mid-90s outside. It was just absolutely terrible, terribly hot, impossible to get in the spirit of it. But yeah, since then, I think it's been pretty busy.
Like the 2 years ago, I know for sure it was the Hocus Pocus. That was like a big deal, and I remember that being like everyone just waited at the stage, so it was really, really crowded just in that Main Street area, and then empty everywhere else. And then last year, I remember it being kind of busy too. So maybe, hopefully, since everything's kind of been around for a couple of years now, we'll be back to a lower area. That's me being selfish, though. I mean, I hope the party always does well because you never want to see the party dates go down.
There are a lot more Disney websites, fan sites, YouTubers, vloggers, bloggers out there now that everybody wants to be there first to see what's new, to get it out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying we fill the park, but you see a lot more of that. You see a lot more tripods set up than we did, years ago.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think everybody else here is looking forward to it. So that starts next Friday, August 25th, 32 nights between then and November 1st. So be sure to purchase your tickets, DisneyWorld.com, if you want to attend the Halloween party. And if you're there the night of the 25th, most of the team will be there as well. So go check it out. And that will do it for our show for this week. We hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be back with you again next Tuesday with another edition of the Diz Unplugged. Thanks for being with us, everyone. And remember, stay out of the damn lakes. Have a good week.